From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 7, streaming now.
Thank you for joining us at 7. I'm Amanda Starantino. Police and residents taking time to walk together in the name of public safety as the city of Indianapolis reaches a sad milestone. This afternoon, Mayor Hogsett, Assistant Police Chief Chris Bailey, and other members of IMPD visited the Northwest Side for a public safety walk. This comes as police investigate a 200th homicide in this already record-breaking year. Mayor Hogsett says he and law enforcement should be held accountable, but this increase in violence is something many cities are dealing with.
I know you tire of me saying it, but we're not alone in this regard. This is a phenomenon that is occurring in every major American city throughout the country. So anybody who wants to say it's all IMPD's responsibility or my responsibility, of course we need to be held accountable. But frankly, this type of activity, the level of non-fatal shootings, the level of homicides, the level of gun violence is occurring in most every other city.
You got to do a better job of communicating and letting everybody know what needs to be done, and then compromise, and everybody's happy. Everybody can be happy.
And these public safety walks occurred often before the pandemic. They are designed to build better relations between police and communities. And the healthcare community is mourning one of their own right now, and the loss of the 30-year-old mother is bringing light to the alarming racial differences in maternal mortality. Shanice Wallace was rushed into an emergency cesarean to deliver her daughter Charlotte after developing preeclampsia, a dangerous pregnancy complication. From there, things escalated, and the physician who was doing her residency here in Indianapolis died from childbirth complications. Her husband says even in her last moments, she encouraged him.
I ended up crying, but she reassured me. She said, "Baby, it's gonna be okay." And she actually had to encourage me in that moment.
According to experts, Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from childbirth-related complications. Charlotte is growing and doing well. She's expected to come home soon. Because Shanice was a donor, she was able to save 5 lives. Now to our continuing coverage of the coronavirus and its impact on Indiana. The State Department of Health reports 2,587 new COVID-19 cases. 33 more Hoosiers died with COVID-19, bringing the total number of COVID-related deaths to 3,991. Since March, more than 169,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for the virus. More than 2.7 million tests have been administered in Indiana. Now to our Democracy 2020 coverage. Hoosiers continue to show up in record numbers to vote early. More than 1.28 million Hoosiers have already voted this year. That includes those who have voted in person or who have already returned an absentee ballot. That's 47% of the total number of votes cast in the presidential race in Indiana 4 years ago. And a reminder, due to the unprecedented number of people early voting in Marion County, Clerk Mila Eldridge is extending early voting hours at the City County Building downtown. So today through Friday, you can vote early at the City County Building from 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. That's 2 extra hours. The poll will be open each day. This Saturday and Sunday, voting hours will be 10 a.m. until 9 p.m. That is 4 extra hours per weekend day. Then on Monday, November 2nd, voting hours will be from 8 a.m. until noon. Again, this is at the City County Building. Marion County satellite voting locations will have normal hours. And let WRTV be your central source for all you need to know before November 3rd. Go to our Vote in 2020 digital section on our website. You'll find everything you need to know there, including who's on your ballot, where you can vote and when, and any other questions you might have this election season. Kyle.
And if you are going to be voting tomorrow, you want to dress to stay warm and dry with rain moving in. Temperatures right now, upper 40s and lower 50s, holding steady with that blanket of clouds. But look at all the rain that is streaming our direction. Already some light rain showers here around Bedford, just south of Seymour, and around portions of Greene County as well. As we look at your forecast here through the next several hours, those rain chances increasing overnight tonight with temperatures in the 40s. We'll talk about how much rain is coming our way for your Thursday in just a few minutes.
Some people who live in Noblesville are letting their city leaders know how they feel about a plan to put a gravel pit in one of their parks. Dozens of people demonstrated last night against the proposed gravel pit from Beaver Materials Company at Potters Bridge Park. They've created a website called don'tleaveitbeaver.com. They say they will push Noblesville's council to turn down the project.
There are 600 properties within a half-mile distance of this gravel pit, and economic impact studies show that it could negatively affect property values between 20 and 30%.
WRTV also spoke to Allie Beaver, who's leading the proposed gravel pit project. She tells us they are following the rules and eventually want to turn the gravel pit into a lake. The plan has not yet been presented to the Noblesville Common Council. Two Indianapolis men are working to improve the area they grew up in by opening a grocery store. Their neighborhood is also one of the city's hardest hit food deserts. WRTV's Cameron Riddle shows you why the owners of the Wall Street Market are not waiting on anyone to help their community.
On the east side of Indianapolis, a locally owned grocery store is helping fill the void in an area known as a food desert.
We have fresh fruits and vegetables, canned goods, dairy products.
The Wall Street Market grocery store has a little bit of everything. In the middle of a pandemic, Michael McFarland and his business partner, Marcus Williams, opened this grocery store near East 38th Street and Emerson Avenue.
Our motivation for starting this store was basically to give back to our neighborhood. We seen that the place that we grew up with people didn't have access to fresh food.
The store opened on the 4th of July, and already McFarland says some of his shelves are empty thanks to a steady stream of customers. He says it's a clear sign how badly the area needed a grocery store.
People from the neighborhood, they love us. They love that we're from the neighborhood. They love that we're here helping and supporting them, giving them options, so they don't have to go all the way across town just to get a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk.
The lack of food access has been mentioned as a factor in the city's ongoing violence issue. This business owner says reducing violence and taking care of the community's needs goes hand in hand.
When people get desperate, they do desperate things. So, food is a necessity for life. So, if you starve somebody, you might do some crazy things that they might not have to do.
Both Marcus and Michael will tell you the future for this store and this community is bright. And they're not waiting for Kroger or Walmart to come in and save the day.
We're right here right now. Wall Street Market could be the next Walmart or the next Kroger. With the support of the city, this could be something that could go globally or worldwide.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
The Wall Street Market is open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. on East 38th Street. Local food pantries often find their resources stretched to limit these days. That's why a group is helping them stock up on items Central Indiana families desperately need. Today, Faith, Hope, and Love Community hosted the first of 2 food box distribution events. Today's took place at the Abundant Life Church on 82nd Street. Members gave away about 1,000 perishable food boxes to pantries and churches.
What we have found out is that there is, of course, an increase in the needs with the spike of the pandemic. A lot of more people are looking for food assistance, and I think this is a really good outreach for churches, even if you don't have a current food pantry, to be able to give the food to your neighborhood, to your community, and then at the same time, some of our churches, they pray for people, and people right now are hungry not just for food but also for relationship.
There's another food box distribution event at a different location, Cross Church on Madison Avenue, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Local food pantries interested in receiving food boxes should call Merlin Gonzalez at 463-210-4612. As we reach the final stretch before the election, the focus is on voters in swing states, and this time a particular group might hold the key to one candidate's victory and another's defeat. That story after the break. As we've seen in past elections, every vote counts. Black voters are among the groups that could make a difference in the outcome this year. And as Maya Rodriguez tells us, it could all come down to turnout in some key states.
Florida, home to green palms, sunny skies, and long lines for early voting. we're seeing a lot of people who are actively engaged.
Dr. Larry Walker is a professor at the University of Central Florida, specializing in race and voting rights. He says looking at state data, he expects a higher black voter turnout this year in Florida, a state where they account for 14% of eligible voters.
I think we're going to see increasingly more black voters that didn't vote in 2016 or weren't registered to vote in this election.
But will they in other battleground states?
I think our culture don't vote enough. To be honest, I don't know. I don't really know.
American University decided to find out. Researchers surveyed 1,200 black voters in the battleground states of Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. What researchers found? Differences that are generational. When it comes to how motivated they are to vote, older black voters overwhelmingly say they will definitely vote, while only 29% of black voters under the age of 30 said they would. American University's Sam Fullwood is one of the researchers involved in the Black Swing Voter Project.
The starkest difference of all those different categories came along generational lines.
How do black voters in swing states feel about the candidates? That also differs by age, with support for former Vice President Biden higher among older black voters than younger. Conversely, President Trump's support is higher among younger black voters than older, though still in the single digits.
Politicians, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, if they want to engage young African Americans, they're going to have to show some tangible benefits of political engagement that would make them feel that there is a reason to participate in the system.
A system where voting is the first step in the political process. In Orlando, I'm Maya Rodriguez.
And researchers say it's possible Senator Kamala Harris's historic run on the Democratic ticket as a vice presidential candidate of Black and South Asian descent could help bring some black voters to the polls, but just how many remains to be seen.
Going to be a damp and breezy Thursday for us. Those winds out of the north around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Some higher gusts. We'll talk about when those winds will switch to a warmer direction. You're watching WRTV News at 7.
Doctors say a second wave of mental health devastation brought on by the pandemic is imminent. Earlier this month, we reported how cases of depression in the U.S. have more than quadrupled since COVID started. Dan Grossman shows us why people in need are still struggling to find help.
This is going to be a long-haul kind of situation.
It took us more than a week to nail down an interview with President and CEO of the National Council for Behavioral Health, Chuck Ingoglia.
I'm certainly hear from our members that they're feeling a lot of tension right now.
He's been that busy dealing with the 3,400 local mental health organizations around the country his group oversees that have had trouble keeping up with demand.
I was with some folks in Tennessee last week, and they're talking about the fact that, they're having more people come in who have lost their jobs and therefore don't have insurance, and they just don't have the resources to provide free care. And they're feeling really torn about that because they understand this need that's in their community.
In a survey of more than 5,000 people released by JAMA last week, 41% reported feeling at least one adverse mental health condition, including depression, anxiety, and substance abuse, tripling to quadrupling rates from 1 year earlier. And remarkably, nearly 11% reported seriously considering suicide within the last 30 days.
We are concerned that things could continue to get worse.
Dr. Vail Wright is the Senior Director of Healthcare Innovation at the American Psychological Association. She says as days get shorter and the weather gets colder, more people will spend time inside, taking away a major respite during these troubling times, the outdoors.
We are anticipating that we'll continue to see mental health challenges, including increase in diagnostic categories as this continues if people don't take active steps to manage their stress.
As COVID cases continue to another crest, experts say hospitals might continue to leave beds open for COVID patients, taking away the availability of psychiatric beds in the emergency room in a place many go for immediate care. The shift puts even more strain on the local organizations Ingoglia oversees that have been dealing with funding issues.
Our members are reporting about a 20% reduction in revenue, and you deal with that by closing programs and laying off staff, which then means you serve fewer patients, which then means your revenue stays low. So it's this kind of self-perpetuating kind of problem that we're having.
Ingoglia says he's been focusing on the Trump administration and Congress as a source of relief in hopes more stimulus money comes to these programs so this concern doesn't evolve into something worse. I'm Dan Grossman reporting.
Hurricane Zeta made landfall a couple of hours ago in Louisiana, a Category 2 storm still with winds of 105 miles per hour. Now, one little good piece of news here is this is a quick moving system. It is zipping to the northeast at 25 miles per hour. May not seem all that fast, but for a tropical system, it is. In fact, by the time we get to tomorrow afternoon, the remnant low here will be over portions of Virginia. And yeah, we are going to get some rain influenced by this system as it passes us by to the southeast. You already see quite a bit of rain filling in here across the mid-south. So as we look at TrueCast across central Indiana, here we go to 11 o'clock tonight. You can see that rain filling in. Should be fairly light as we go through the overnight hours, though we will see some pockets of moderate rain, especially along and south of Interstate 70 for us tomorrow morning. This is 6:30 in the morning. Your morning drive might be a little slowed down by some of that rain and the wet pavement out there. Still at noon, we're going to be dealing with rain. So although that system to the south is pretty quick moving, we are going to have a day fairly soggy across central Indiana as we get to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Drying out around Monticello, Lafayette, into the Delphi area, but we will not see that really moving out of areas like Shelbyville, Rushville, and Columbus until we get to about 9 or 10 o'clock tomorrow night. In southern locations, looking to see the heaviest amounts of rainfall. This is where we do have, especially from Bloomington, Columbus areas to the south, that flood watch in effect. Could see 1 to 2 inches, possibly 2 to 3 inches of rainfall in this area. Notice how that quickly drops off, though, to the north. Along I-70, about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rainfall is expected for us. Temperatures right now holding around 50 degrees with those cloudy skies in Indy, 49 in Lafayette. Winds not too much of a factor for us now. Will become breezy, though, as we go into the day tomorrow. And as you would expect with the clouds and the wet weather we're going to have, temperatures will be unseasonably cool again as we go throughout our Thursday. Noon, 46 degrees for you, only getting to around 50 for that afternoon high. And there's that north breeze gusting again between about 20 and 30 miles per hour that keeps the cool temperatures in place. Not only for Thursday, but Friday as well. A high of just 50 there. 36 is where we start off the day. We'll get to 56 as we finally see some sunshine returning to the area to start the weekend. A little breezy, though, and cool on Sunday. And we'll see those temperatures finally starting to moderate. We're back in the 60s by Wednesday. Stay with us. We got more coming your way on WRTV News at 7.
A comment about COVID-19 made by Pope Francis is raising a few eyebrows. The Pope today described the virus as a lady who does so much harm. He was speaking to a group of faithful at the Vatican, trying to explain why he would not come down from the stage to greet them. The pontiff said, quote, "We have to maintain distance because if I come down, it immediately creates a crowd, and this goes against the precautions that we have to take before this lady called COVID who does us so much harm." The Pope, who was not wearing a mask, did greet some priests who came up to the stage after the event. CVS says it will expand its COVID-19 testing services. The pharmacy chain wants to add rapid result testing at nearly 1,000 locations by the end of the year. Nearly 100 of these rapid result test sites will be operational this week. The tests are available at no cost to patients who meet Centers for Disease Control and Prevention criteria. CVS currently manages more than 4,000 drive-through test sites at its pharmacy locations in 33 states, including Indiana. Most results from these existing test sites are generally available within 2 to 3 days. You must register in advance at cvs.com to schedule an appointment. Instagram wants to give you more time to connect with others. The company announced an extension of live streams from 1 hour to 4 hours. Instagram says it knows people turn to social media during the pandemic for things like workouts, meditation, and shopping. The change is for all users with no history of policy violations. The live streams will also be kept in the archives for up to 30 days.
All right, we got quite a bit of wet weather coming our way this evening into the day on Thursday, and that's going to keep us cool with high temperatures around 50. We do see some brighter skies heading into the weekend. Still going to be cool there, though, Amanda, with highs around 50 on Sunday.
Thank you for making WRTV your choice for news. We'll see you at 11.